Hey friends, hi.
Hi, oh, we are back with a new video, and yes, we were on a pause because a lot of things were going on in COVID,
Yeah,
and
COVID, Black Lives Matter.
How can you tell black people they need to go back to Africa when white people aren't from here either?
So we thought, let's give some time to ourselves also, just to let the situation of everything sink in. And yeah, we were kind of quite disturbed with some of the events that's been happening in around the US and also in India, like all the mishaps at the Aksai Chin border of Ladakh.
No. This is our area. This is our area.
And also the recent the recent soldiers that were martyred at the Ladakh. So we thought, let's observe some silence, and when the right time comes, then we'll definitely be up for a vlog.
so today's video will be about F1 visa Q&A
Yeah.
related to F1 visas, and my
Yes.
husband will be sharing his own experience or his own F1 story, right?
Yes,
I
that's
hope
correct.
this will be really helpful for those aspiring students.
Yeah.
Let's get started.
All right, bring it on.
First question is, when did you decide to come to United States on F1 visa?
Okay, so I first made my decision to come to the United States in 2011. That's when I gave my GRE, which is a graduate record examination for admission into master's level education in United States. Either you pursue MS or MBA, or nowadays it's MSBA. So in 2011 I decided, and in 2012 I graduated with a BTech degree in electronics, and post that I worked for a year in HCL, and in 2013 I utilized my GRE score to get admitted into one of the best schools in California, which is Santa Clara University, and finally come here to do a master's in computer science.
Okay, that's nice. So, like, it has been 6 years to you,
Yes.
right?
No, not 6. It's been precisely 7 years to me in the United States, both as a student as well as a employee.
So, my next question is, you came on F1 visa, but there are other types of non-immigrant student visas, but very few people know about it,
Yes,
right?
that's
So,
correct.
I would like you to tell people about other alternate visa routes that
Okay.
that generally a student can come on.
Okay, so firstly, F1 visa is usually guaranteed to prospective students once he gets his letter of admit from one of the universities in the US for any of the program, be it BS, MS, MBA, or PhD. Another category of visa, for people or for students who are willing to immigrate to the United States is that of J visa. J usually means that so it caters to a student exchange program. Like, for an instance, if there is an institute in India, that has close ties or that has an MOU signed out.
J visa is for academic exchange.
Yes.
So you come here on non-immigrant visa, and
Yes.
On that visa you are somehow allowed to work
Yeah.
for a certain period of time.
Such visas also cater to businessmen who are looking to expand their business. We have also prepared a presentation regarding different types of student visas which can help students to immigrate to US, which are like F, J, and M. Another thing must be an L1 or an L2 visa. L1 is the primary visa holder's visa, and L2 is his or her spouse's visa. So that basically caters to the intra-company transfer. So for example, even in my company, even my former company, I used to have a lot of people, who would be on L1 or L2 visa, and since they could find positions in the US headquarters, so they would like immigrate here. So this is another type.
So many students here, they want to know that how did you start from this scratch. So just share your scratch story. How did you prepare for the GRE and TOEFL?
I just scratched everybody.
I know, preparing for GRE is something you will scratch everyone.
Preparing for GRE isn't much of a big deal if you're already into competitive examinations like CAT, or even like in India you have GATE, right, for your graduate degree.
Yeah.
In India itself.
Only it's just a basic exam, standard exam for English and maths, right?
Yeah. So if you are quite good in aptitude, especially quants and verbal ability, along with little bit of logic and data interpretation, then you are quite good in in sailing through GRE, because GRE on a comparative scale with CAT is a little inferior, I would say, because CAT is quite an exemplary examination, while even GRE is, but the math might be a little toned down. So yeah.
I mean, both are aptitude-based exams, so
yeah. But if one is well versed in preparing for CAT, then he or she shouldn't be preparing extra for GRE.
But in CATs, you have, it's more of very I mean, that's what I feel. CAT is more comprehensive and difficult exam than GRE.
No, so that's what I said. GRE is on math skills itself, it's more toned down as compared with CAT, but English level is quite the same in GRE or CAT.
I see.
I went to Jamboree, which is in Delhi, and anybody, might have their own, his or her own preferences regarding the institute that they want to go for preparing for GRE. So yeah, for GRE, the standard is pretty much verbal, quantitative aptitude, then you have got a little bit of logic, reasoning, and data interpretation. For TOEFL, I don't think I went to any classes, since TOEFL usually encompasses things like verbal ability. You have to speak, more than you have to write down stuff on the objective exam in GRE, in TOEFL. Okay, and so TOEFL primarily tests your English language, because since you're going abroad, you need to be grasping some of the things, that people are communicating in and around you, and also how you respond. That's what TOEFL usually measures. So personally speaking, I didn't attend any classes for TOEFL. I just took some notes, during the 10-day period of my TOEFL exam, and then I just went to give the exam straight away and secured a pretty good score. I would just like to give them a word of caution about the existing situation that is prevailing amidst the COVID pandemic, the heavy lockdown that has yet to be lifted, and the protests that are going all over the United States about the Black Lives Matter, which aren't dying down, anytime soon. And recently even Trump announced that he's putting a bar to the H-1B program, till the time this COVID situation it flatlines, along with the US economy recovers. So he's going to put an end to it.
The Trump administration says that making these restrictions will free up some of those jobs to help get Americans back to work.
I'm just saying as per what I just heard in the news. So for an ending note, I would just like to say that please make your decision to be very informed, and make sure you research about all facets about the existing situation in the United States that's been going on for a while, and then only arrive to a decision.
I just want to convey my best wishes to all those students who are aspiring to be a student here, but with that, I just wanted them to know that there are visa struggles going on. So be mindful about your choices to come here. For the visa situation is tightening every day.
Yes.
As well as CPT, OPT, everything is affected here. So there is no surety that even after your studies you will be given a visa to work here. On a positive note, I want to say, life keeps on going, and this is not.
This is not the end.
This is not the end.
I mean, even if this COVID situation is prevailing, tomorrow or day after, it might be rubbed off the face of earth. So never lose your hope. You're definitely gonna get there. But in the meanwhile, just make the best use of this time. Try to learn as much of the new stuff about the latest emerging technologies, and then nobody will be big enough to stop you from securing your dream job or employment. So that's pretty much it.
Thank you for watching our vlog, and please subscribe.
Please like, share, subscribe our videos for more awesome content, and we promise to be pretty much regular on time, and we sincerely apologize for being this much delayed. Alright, take care guys, and have a good time during quarantine. Bye-bye.
Read the signs. I don't know why I left you in this time. I must be blind. I guess I couldn't